Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan, and my goodness, we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, and we've got a lot of big trades in the the sport of hockey. Yeah, that's gonna be the name of the podcast. There's really just trades happening everywhere, whether that's in hockey, whether that's in basketball, and whether that's in the world. Why don't we talk about the tariffs that happened? No, let's not do that. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I don't even know how much you want to talk about the Blackhawks because there's so many trades to go through. And before we get into it, it was nice seeing all those trades, but the trade that happened in the NBA, what was it, a night ago or a couple nights ago? I can't quite remember. It just shows you the NBA is king for trades. And I don't know how much you follow basketball in particular, but I know you watch it or at least follow it more than I do. So what were your thoughts on the Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers? Because from what I heard, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is one of the biggest trades in sports history." And the Shams tweet, when he tweeted that trade out, it's got almost 100 million impressions and I think almost 300,000 likes. So I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts about it.
It's the stupidest trade I've ever seen in sports history. I still can't comprehend it. I was avidly told that I was lying when I was breaking it to my friends on Saturday. It's the stupidest trade I've ever seen in my life. It's a top 5 player in the NBA. He's 25, and you got a declining power forward and a first round pick that is 15 years old right now. I don't understand this trade at all. Makes zero sense from either side's perspective. Well, for the Lakers' perspective, you take that and run and laugh your whole way back to Los Angeles.
And apparently it was the Mavericks that were calling, and the Mavericks went to the NBA Finals last year. So I don't watch much basketball, but and I saw a lot of explain this in hockey terms, baseball terms, or whatever, and it just seems like such a unique trade on its own, trading a player that good for what seems like a declining player in Anthony Davis, not
Jack
the
Hughes
player
for
they're
Victor
getting
Hedman.
back.
That's literally what the trade is.
Wait, Jack Hughes for Victor Hedman?
That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Davis is still really good, and Victor Hedman's still really good. But Victor Hedman is clearly on the decline. And Jack Hughes is top 10 player in the league right now. So pretty valid. And Jack Hughes is locked up, and he's on a great deal, just like Luka. That's basically what the trade equivalent is for hockey terms. Someone was like, "Yeah, Connor McDavid for Drew Doughty." No, because Luka's not the best player in the league, but that's funny.
That's LeBron, and he's gonna be playing with the best player in the league.
Yeah, I bought tickets when I come to Charlotte in 2 weeks.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
And they're both gonna be out for maintenance, and I'm just gonna not go. But what? Sorry, go.
Sorry, you go. Oh, I was gonna say, wasn't he due for what was it, a 5-year, $345 million extension or something like that? I don't know.
Yes.
He was due for a lot of money.
He's due for the Supermax, which he's 100% worth. This guy's dropped 75 points in a game before, clutch in the playoffs, and almost single-handedly took his team to a ring last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he wants.
Sounds like he needs to drop 75 pounds.
But sorry, guys, he likes drinking beer. That's crazy. Who gives, literally, who cares? Oh, he looks like a bag of milk. Who cares? That bag of milk just dropped 50 on you. So who's really the laugh at here? The Dallas is so stupid. The fact that the Cowboys went from the least incompetent team, that's not them anymore, is insane. Just an awful move all around. At least from my perspective, and at least all my basketball friends, they think it's ridiculous too. So, yeah, NBA is still crazier than the NHL, but surprisingly, the NBA's ratings are actually really bad this year. So, might be on the shift in terms of, just kidding. The NFL is still king, at least in North America.
Always. What do you? It's got to be Chiefs that win. It's got to be.
I've been saying Chiefs 3-peat since September. Yeah. This is always going to happen, and this time it's going to be the defense. It's going to be Mahomes playing smart football again, just like last year in the Super Bowl, and he's going to make 1 or 2 throws that no one else on the field can make, and that's all it's going to be.
Yeah, it's really just Brady with the Patriots again, but I don't think the Patriots ever three-peated, did they?
No one's ever three-peated in the NFL.
Oh shit, no one ever. Okay.
Ever.
Damn.
Yeah, this isn't like the
But enough
NHL where
about
those
those
fucking bummy Islanders
Joe.
got 4 straight.
Yeah, but enough about those Joe Schmo sports. Let's talk about hockey.
Yes, please, because there's been way too much that's happened in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Good lord.
Yeah, where do you want to? I guess we could just start with the biggest one, like
the one the Blackhawks are involved in. Get the cuck chair out.
That's wasn't there a third team on the Doncic trade too? Wasn't like the Jazz or something? Like they were
the Jazz played that role too. Get excited. The Bulls played it on the De'Aaron Fox one, dude. Chicago just loves playing third fiddle or second fiddle. Like it's just ridiculous. But yeah, break down the trade.
So you bring that up with Chicago being involved in the trade. I think it's Don't Be Sod. He's broken a few of the Hawks trades. Like I think he got the Jones trade, the Hagel trade. I think he got the Hall.
He's gotten every major Hawks move since probably the DeBrincat trade. Honestly,
yeah, like for the past few years, definitely he's broken all the big ones. I'm pretty sure, and he was like, "Oh, Taylor Hall is going to be traded, but there's bigger moves to happen." So I'm wondering when they got that information if they knew of the other trades that were happening, because holy shit. We all knew Taylor Hall was going to be moved, so that part wasn't surprising, but it just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like, oh, Taylor Hall is going to Carolina. Oh, well, nice. Taylor Hall gets to go play for contenders. Probably not much to it. And then just an absolute nuke bombshell drop that Mikko Rantanen has been traded to Carolina, and then Marty Necas is going back the other way to Colorado, and same with Jack Drury. And there was a lot of like, this trade had to have taken like 2 hours to fully sell itself out. I remember, I think it was Sarah Valley tweeted out like, "Oh, Kakaniemi is part of the trade package," and it wasn't. It was Jack Drury instead. So it took like I feel like it took almost 2 hours for the whole trade to work itself out till we got the finalization. And like as a side, before we really dig into it, I hate NHL insiders, bro. Like I hate how like we're gonna get into all the trades, but I remember the other day Darren Dreger was like, "Yeah, I heard about it this morning." Like, why even say that? Like, I'm tired of
go carry water.
I believe this player is going to this team, and then it takes like 2-3 hours to unfold. Why can't an NHL insider just be like, "Oh, here's a trade, here's what's happening, like here's the draft picks, all players, all that stuff, like here's the conditions, here's any retentions." Like no NHL insider can do that. And like I'm looking at other sports too, like MLB is horrible for that. I don't know much about like NBA and the NFL. Like who's the NFL guy again? Isn't it Adam Schefter? I can't.
Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, Ari Miroff. Those are usually the 4 that break them.
And like I don't know, basketballs will be shams now. It's not Woj anymore. So
Woj pulls a Darren Dreger. I had it last morning.
Yeah.
Jokes on you.
Just I'm not gonna get it. Let's get in the trade, because like this gotta be one of the biggest in-season trades ever, really. Like we've seen some pretty big trades happen in the offseason. We all remember the 2016 offseason with Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, and then PK Subban for Shea Weber. Those are some huge trades, but I can't remember a trade happening like this in season, not in recent memory. 2 point per game players being traded for each other. Mikko Rantanen, like how many wingers would you take over Mikko Rantanen? I was thinking about this. It's probably 2 that can cut off the top of my head. I would maybe take Kucherov and Pasternak over Rantanen, but that's probably about it. Rantanen to me is that good, and like again,
are we counting Draisaitl as a center?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right then.
Yeah. He's
actually, I would take. I don't know. I feel like I'd take Mikko over Pasta, but we'll see.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that's how good he is. Like you could debate. Like you could argue he is the top. Actually, no, Kucherov is the best winger. But like
Kucherov's the best winger. It's
right there. And we're gonna talk about like the salary cap going up. And my first thought when I saw this trade happen, Colorado thinks they clearly cannot sign him. Mikko Rantanen, I doubt Carolina is going to sign him. I think they're going to try to, obviously, but Carolina just seems like a team that's like, oh, here's our number. If you don't want to take it, then like you're going to go. Mikko Rantanen's going to hit the market, and with the cap going up, like he might be the highest paid player in the NHL for a little bit, because I think it's going to be Draisaitl. right now for 14 million once his extension kicks in, and then Rantanen could go to free agents and be like, I want at least that, and he could potentially get like 15, even 60 million, and I would do it. Like, he's that good. He's a guy who has gotten 100 plus points before. He scored 50 goals. I think he's on pace to do 100 plus points again this year. Is a playoff performer. I was looking at, we always talk about Nathan McKinnon as a great playoff performer, which he is. I mean, he won the Stanley Cup with him, but Mikko Rantanen has been, I think, better points or point per games wise.
Mikko had more points on the Cup run.
Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing is Cale Makar's better than both of them.
That's why he's wearing an A for Canada, baby.
Mm-hmm. But just an incredible player. Like Carolina, the biggest thing, their biggest problem, how over the past how many years since they've been a good team, since Rod Brind'Amour has taken over head coach, is like very great defensive structured team. Just like a very like volume heavy team, just get shots on net, and hopefully the pucks will go in, and that's worked for them in the regular season. They've been one of the more consistent teams in the regular season as like the past 5 or however many years, but once they get to the playoffs, they haven't won a game past the conference final. Like, how many wins does it take to get to a Stanley Cup? How many wins does it take?
16.
I'm like Brad Pitt for Moneyball. Like, when I call it, yeah, you got it. It's 8 wins. That's the most the Hurricanes have won in a playoff since their last Stanley Cup win in 2006. You got to get 60 wins. It's nice you win a round or 2 even, but you're just barely you're just halfway there. And they got Jake Gensel last year. I thought that would work. It didn't. And Eric Tulsi thought, well, if Jake Gensel doesn't work, then we're gonna have to get someone even better with Mikko Rantanen. And to me, I mean, like, that's such a big name. Like, no, apparently, like, there was a Pettersson. They were trying to work out a Pettersson deal. They were supposed to work out a JT Miller deal. I believe they wanted Pettersson last year, and then Eric Tulski's like, no, fuck it, we're gonna go get Mikko Rantanen. We're gonna, sell high on Marty Necas, and we're gonna get this kind of player. And in a sport that's so risk averse, as we always say, it's nice to see the nerds get into the game and make it a lot more fun by trading for Mikko Rantanen. Well, what are your thoughts on this trade? Because holy shit, like the biggest trade I can think of like mid-season was the Joe Thornton trade, and that happened almost 20 years ago. So
it's funny because if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said, Colorado, what are you doing? Now I think it's, I don't know. Like, we'll see. Because initially I was thinking, well, Carolina has to win this year, like you said, regardless. Because you can't have Gensel and Rantanen walk into the building and have them both walk. So you either need to win the cup or you need to extend Rantanen. The latter is probably more likely, but you also have to remember they have to lock up a lot of players down the line. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And hopefully Rantanen sticks and, finds that chemistry with Aho and all them. I mean, obviously Aho's been hurt since he's got there sick or something like that. I don't know. But
yeah, so I think the whole team was sick because Taylor Hall was sick when they were playing the Blackhawks.
It's all part of the plan. But yeah, they're in a situation right now where they have to win now. This has to work. And in Colorado's point of view, you can push back. This is where I disagree with it now, looking more into it. I'm pretty sure Marty Necas and Cale Makar are up the same year now. So if Necas goes off the way they think he's going to, you just got back in the same situation a year later where you're going to have to pay both your guys a lot of money. Unless I think Necas isn't that type of player, but if I'm him and I put up 100 points in Nathan McKinnon, who's to say I'm not worth $11-12 million, which apparently is like, from what all the reports are saying, that's what Rantanen was offered. He was offered basically more than Panarin, which would make him the highest paid winger in the league. Obviously that market's going to shatter now with these salary cap expectations. He's going to get well over 13 now. He might get the 14 he was asking for from certain teams, but
yeah,
yeah, but that's besides the point.
More on that later.
Yeah. I think Colorado, it'll be interesting to see how it works out. I think Necas has played very well. I think him and McKinnon, it's going to be just like him, McKinnon, and Makar on the ice at the same time. There's so much speed. It's going to be a nightmare for teams to be able to keep up with. But it's another situation where this needs to work. Like, how many in-season trades can a team make and just decide that it's not their year? Like, yeah, they're still in a wild card hunt. I understand, but
Guess you're gonna have to play in the first round though, probably. Oilers.
as of right now, it says one. Oh yeah, it is an Oilers. Shoot, you're right.
I looked at it earlier, so I would know.
Yeah, well,
not fun either way, Winnipeg or Edmonton. So
I'd rather have Winnipeg. They dog walked them last year in the playoffs, but it's just another situation like we talked about. If they're healthy, they're probably going to be in each game, but at the same time, you can't trust their goaltending situation. That's always been their problem. That's always been their Achilles heel going back over a decade. And sorry, locking up Mackenzie Blackwood after 5 games is not going to solve the problem. Like, I don't know. This is going to be a trade that Colorado's probably going to win in the long run, but it's going to depend on if Rantanen extends. Because if Rantanen extends, Carolina won the trade. No ifs, ands, or buts. But if Rantanen walks and Colorado's got the remaining pieces of the trade, you can't, unless Carolina won a cup, there's no way you can look at it as if, Rantanen or the Colorado, won the trade, which I think they will at the end of the day. It's the harsh reality of the league. I think, like you said, Carolina's going to offer a number, and if he doesn't like that number, I think Carolina will look elsewhere unless they, their hands get tied and, Rantanen just develops crazy chemistry. But he's got 2 points in 4 games so far. We'll give it to the end of the year and see what happens.
1 goal against the Hawks.
All that matters is all that matters is that he scores in the playoffs. He could literally not do fuck all, and if he has 4 game-winning goals in the playoffs, the trade's worth it. So those are my thoughts initially.
We wouldn't know anything about that as Blackhawks fans.
But... No, not at all. Never. Not even a couple overtime and third period game winners at that.
No.
Never even.
And you certainly didn't witness. Yeah, and certainly you didn't witness one of them live in person. Did you?
No, never. I never saw one in person where Victor Hedman and Ben Bishop ran into each other. I definitely did not see that game. That's so crazy.
But we're going to talk about the cap going up, but I can't help but think like they wanted to bring Rantanen back. He's been part of this team. Like they drafted him in 2015. He was with them when they had that horrible year in 16-17, and then fast forward 5 years later, wins a Stanley Cup with them. It's just, I can't help but think with the cap going up, like they had to have known that this was going to happen or have some kind of intel on it, because I would do everything in my power to re-sign Mikko Rantanen. I don't care if I have 3 guys making like $12.5 million plus. I mean, if they're that good, you got to pay them. And with cap going up the way it's supposed to, and even if you have those big contracts, they're just going to be a smaller percentage of the cap. So, Marty Necas has been a great fit for the Avalanche. Like, I don't think it's a total loss, but definitely from the end of Carolina and Eric Tulsky, to me, that's a risk worth taking. Necas only has 1 more year at $6.5 million, and it's very likely he probably would have gone to free agency anyways. So yeah, that's a risk I'm taking 100 times out of 100 for if I'm Eric Tulsky in Carolina. Kind of to your point earlier, so Marty Necas is up in 2026, and then Cale Makar's up in 2027. But yeah.
Okay, so they have another year off. Okay, they're fine. But also, I'd like to make another point. The NHL sucks. The NHL just sucks. Plain and simple.
What? We've never said that on this show before. That's a first.
The league stinks. Oh my God. You're telling me Mikko Rantanen's available and that's the best package they got? The GMs are not creative whatsoever. The fact that whatever. Vancouver should just be kicking themselves right now. I'm sorry.
Like, we want to get into that.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about the Hawks end of things because
they got a third for Taylor Hall, who was playing 4th line minutes. That's a win in itself. Yeah. Just move, and it's their third, so it's like 65.
So, you could just say awesome. That's the late second. Yeah,
that's awesome, and everyone's gonna look at it as just a plain third in a vacuum. But no, it's the Blackhawks' third. They're gonna be bottom 3. That's a very valuable pick. Guess who got picked around that range? Nick Lardis, 48 goals in 47 games. Yes, that pick is very valuable.
Yeah. Hell, even another Roman Cancerov pick. That'd be nice.
Yummy.
But also, I would
kids are
like
all
to
right.
see those draft picks used for, to get some players that are good now. But,
This
another
offseason
time
they
we'll
will.
talk about that.
Apparently they're in on like Anders Lee, which makes no sense, but whatever.
Bro, what the fuck?
5 minutes too late. Get excited.
Anders Lee, where the hell did you see this?
Hag Frana on NHL Network.
Oh, that's why. That makes sense. Okay.
On NHL Network too, so it's out in the vacuum. Or it's out in the, the realm. But no, they are looking to get a power forward apparently, which like anyone with a brain would have figured out, but that's just me. Can Ottawa lose 10 straight? Not going to happen. They're 28-20-4, but
regardless, the Seth Jones for Brady Tkachuk trade is going to happen, so I'll get excited.
Seth is never getting traded. Actually, we talked about this. If this league has taught me anything, Seth Jones is tradable and he has value. Period.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me? Look at Dallas's right side. It's been a revolving door. Again, we'll talk about it later. Them getting Cody Ceci. Yeah. Are you telling me, with the cap going up, they wouldn't trade for Seth Jones or any other team?
Kyle Davidson, you are in such a favorable situation if your prospects start prospering. Because Seth Jones will be able to get a value once you're able to trade him. And then just keep Murphy as the veteran and go from there.
He can be our Eric Johnson. That's fine.
Good Lord, this team is terrible.
But he might be.
Let's talk about Vancouver.
Yeah.
I'm done talking about the Hawks. Sorry.
The funniest thing is they're probably one of their better stretches this season, but I'm just like, it's been however many years of this I'm done. It feels like we just repeat ourselves a lot. Let's talk about the other stuff that's happening in the NHL, because there's genuinely a lot of great stuff. So the Mikko Rantanen trade came out of fucking left field. Like, holy shit. Again, I wish we had more GMs like Eric Tulsky, because how many GMs knew that Mikko Rantanen is available? This might sound crazy, but if I would Kyle Davidson, I would be like, okay, what's it like? I would at least done due diligence, trade for him and then just fucking lock him up and give him whatever the hell he wants.
I think any GM with a brain should be doing their due diligence. If you hear like the fact that only a handful of teams looked in when Jack Eichel was available, and only it sounds like a handful of teams are looking at Elias Pettersson. This is the problem with this league, dude. If you want something, you got to pay for it. And no one wants to pay for it. And guess what, guys? At the end of the day, they don't end up paying for it unless you're Stan Bowman. Then you probably do. But still, think about it. The last 4 major trades, I think everyone can look back and be like, that's pretty underwhelming compared to what we were hearing. Jack Eichel trade, I can look at that. I can honestly look at this Mikko Rantanen trade and think that. It's a very common thing in this league. So,
yeah, it's crazy how the last 2 Stanley Cup champions, one traded for Matthew Tkachuk and then the other traded for Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. You should go trade for good play. Vegas, we got to get to the trade, but Vegas has basically built their whole team on trades. Their pro scouting has got to be the best in the NHL. Just not even getting the star players. They've gotten Jack Eichel, they've traded for Mark Stone. Some of the Ivan Barbashev, Chandler. Can you name what they traded for Chandler Stevenson? Because I can't. I'm pretty sure it was a mid-round pick.
It was a 5th round pick.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm pretty sure they traded Eric Holla for Nick Waugh. And again, that's a smart organization in Carolina. That just shows that Vegas has the best pro scouting in the league. And then last year they go out and get Noah Hanifin and Thomas Hertl for the trade deadline, and they got them locked up. So yeah, everyone get mad at Vegas for circumnavigating the cap and all that shit and using LTR. Yeah, but would you be acting the same if your team was doing this too? It's that Vegas is the only team
team's just not smart enough.
Yeah.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. And don't tell me other teams can't. I know they're saying the whole thing about people are going to start having internal caps because of how hard it's going to go up. Newsflash, that's always been the case. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Some teams have money and some teams don't. It's about time this league got to that point. Because I'm sorry. A team like the Rangers or a team like the Maple Leafs or a team like the Bruins, if they bring in the money, they're going to be able to afford it. All the Florida teams are going to be able to afford it.
So is Vegas. Yeah.
Yes. It would not surprise me if Montreal is good in the next 3 years because they're going to have the money to go spend around all the kids that are going to come up. God forbid the Blackhawks get their shit together because they're going to be able to spend so much money and the people are going to want to go. Like, it's Chicago. Like, this is just how the league works. This is how life works.
I'm pretty sure
Like,
Ryan Callahan was like, yeah, it shouldn't, like, Blackhawks being a bad team shouldn't affect their ability to get big name free agencies
no,
and like big names in trades. It really shouldn't.
dude, it never has, honestly.
No.
Like, you can look at the last 5 years. I think all of us can agree, like, a handful of the players that win here, we probably never would have expected. Like, for God's sakes, Seth Jones wanted to go to 3 spots, and one of them was a shitty Blackhawks team. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is a very real situation we live in. And if other teams can't make money, so be it. So God bless a team like Carolina for going for it right now. Because who knows if they're going to be able to spend to the ceiling once it gets up to 117 mil. So take your shot now. Like you said,
That's
God bless
crazy.
Eric Tulsky.
Anyways.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about the salary cap. We're going to have the next however many years to talk about. And they said, like, that's set in place. So I don't know if that could even go higher than that. But yeah, that's still the fact it's going up that high is a very it's a good thing. Like, I don't think it's bad for any team. Like, all the teams that have won Stanley Cups, like I think of the Panthers that have their core locked in right now. Same with Vegas, same with Tampa. Like, that's good news for them. And for the teams like the Blackhawks that are rebuilding, this is good news for them too. Like, if you have a lot of money, a lot of free space, and the cap just keeps going up, like, you're going to be able to, lock Connor Bedard up, hopefully, and then that just being an even smaller percentage of your cap, and then you can potentially go get a Rantanen or Marner, or if you wait till next free agency, a Kirill Kaprizov or whoever decides to test the market.
And I've been in this camp since we won the draft lottery. But if number 16 from Toronto is there on July 1st, he is number 1 over Rantanen. Still don't care. Like, he's younger, he's better, he plays better defense, and he would be able to let Bedard pot 60 every year. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. But also,
I mean, I'd rather I'd rather Ranta, but like, if a chance for either one. Oh no, we got Mitch Marner, a guy who's got 100 points, a guy who's been a Selke finalist. Don't give a fuck about the playoffs. This team needs to make the playoffs first.
Exactly. And knowing how this league works, he's just going to become a playoff demon on the Hawks. So that's just how the league works.
Surely,
you don't keep. Yeah, sorry.
Surely a maligned winger in Toronto. That's never happened to a maligned winger in Toronto when he got traded to the U.S.
Never.
And then won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Never. That never happened, actually.
No.
But I do want to talk about Vancouver because I think
let's do it.
This so obviously JT Miller traded to the New York Rangers. Feel like this was always where he was going to end up, at least in terms of how the rumors were going at one point. It just seemed like they were really trying to push for Zibanejad to go the other way, and that was just never going to happen. Sucks for a guy like Hedl to go the other way. Like, he's fought so much injury wise, and he was such a pivotal part of some of those playoff runs. And
the kid line, and now 2/3 of the kid line's gone.
Then the third, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Well, hey, who knows? Maybe he does what Kakko does, because Kakko's got 16 points in 20 games on the Kraken. So he's just been killing it. But I feel for a guy like Hedl. I think the Rangers actually came out pretty good. They also got Brandstrom, who actually has very good analytics defensively on Vancouver this year, and Colorado, I guess, for that matter. Yeah. And also, here's where I don't like what Vancouver's doing, because you get you get a first round pick from the Rangers. Who knows if the Rangers make the playoffs? They probably will, but if they don't,
at this rate, they were dead to right a month ago, and they've just been kind of silently working their way back up into a wild card spot. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, Tampa's not in a playoff spot right now. That's kind of crazy. Games in hand though, but yeah, you look at where the Rangers are, you probably have a top 15 pick there, and you immediately flip that for Marcus Pettersson. Just do not understand what this team is trying to accomplish. You would think you'd want to put some quality pieces around Pettersson if you're going to keep him. Obviously,
they got Kiefer Sherwood back from injury. That'll be fine.
Good Lord. It's just, I don't understand. I know JT Miller to Carolina was a rumor at one point, and clearly Carolina made the better decision. But God, if you had, I just don't know. If you really were gonna rip the Band-Aid off, just do it. I just don't think this was the right move. At the end of the day, if I had to bet, Patterson's still probably going to get traded at some point. Like, this is just how this league works.
If I'm Kyle Davidson, I'm still going after him. And so should every other NHL team should be calling Jim Rutherford right now.
And he's locked up to a great deal in terms of where the salary cap's going. He's making 11.5. Like, that's going to be nothing in terms of 3
that's
years.
going to be less than 10% of the cap in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think I saw something that Draisaitl's number that he signed at is going to be 12.5.
Oh, with each passing second, that deal is. Mwah.
Yeah, you got to feel for players like Draisaitl and McKinnon because they got screwed by the last upwards in cap, and now they're getting screwed again because they set the fucking pace for the cap.
Oh, they've easily lost tens of millions of dollars, potentially $50 million plus.
Yeah, 100%. McKinnon's probably going to lose upwards of $60 million by the end of his career in terms of value.
Probably more. Yeah.
Crosby had the same thing, but also Crosby won 3 cups, and McKinnon has probably infinite advertisements for life. So it's just you're good. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. You should just pay stars however much because they're just always going to be worth it. But what do I know? I'm just some Joe Schmo doing a podcast.
Years. But it's Vancouver's just in such a weird spot. You would think you'd want to hang on to that first. You flip it for a defenseman who's okay.
They did this 2 years ago. The same. They traded Bo Horvat and then they flipped that first for Filip Hronek.
I forgot about that. Jesus Christ.
It's the same thing.
I totally forgot they immediately flipped that for Hronek. Jesus.
What's the saying? The more the things change, the more the things change, the more they stay the same.
No, that's not true because Brandon Saad's not an Oiler, so definitely not. Unfortunately, actually, right. Saad probably was screw that. I don't want to go to Canada. Yeah. He's
not with those tariffs right now. I'll go play in Vegas.
Jeez Louise. I'll go play in Vegas. Yeah, that's what most people do in Vegas, and they come out losing. First round exit? ? But no, but I really thought Saad was going to be an Oiler.
Dude, Taylor made the Oilers every past 3 or 4 seasons. They went after Evander Kane. They went after Corey Perry.
Mark.
Yeah, they went after former Hawks. They went after John Klingberg. Your former general manager right now is Stan and the Oilers always go after the guys that have just had their contracts terminated in the middle of the season. It was the airplane lining backing you up to land. Everything was lining up for that to happen, and then Vegas nope, he's ours.
Hear me out.
Which is I feel like Vegas does that a lot with signings and trades. Nope, you're ours now.
I heard there's a defenseman in Colorado who they could really use right now.
Is it Calvin DeHaan?
Of course it's Calvin DeHaan. But to put a bow on Vancouver from my 2 cents, it really does just send it. There's no direction with that franchise, and they handled the situation so poorly. The fact that this was discussion for 3 months. It's February. This has been going on since at least November.
Yep.
Shit.
At least 2 months.
We talk about it all the time, dude. Shit, I get off the pot. And they did not do either in this situation. And it's been detrimental to their season.
They got off the pot and then and just shit everywhere.
Right on the floor. Just terrible. But yeah, it's no sense of direction. Don't know how you could have faith in Jim Rutherford right now.
Things are not going to get better.
Things
aren't going to magically just get better. They're going to do 180. Nope. I don't even think they're in a playoff spot right now.
They're 2 points out of a playoff spot. So the worst part is they can still get in. But you'll play Winnipeg, so have fun.
Or Edmonton, yeah.
Oh, God. Edmonton, Vancouver, round 1, please.
I need somehow, some way, a Battle of Alberta again.
It's very possible right now.
And if we get a Battle of Alberta and a Battle of Ontario, that's all I ask for.
Battle of Ontario is right. That's what the standings are right now. It's Toronto 2, Ottawa 3. Holy smokes. Shout out Ottawa. It's crazy what happens when Pierre Dorian leaves that building. It's insane.
Yeah,
It's almost like a team that had a bunch of talents finally being used properly.
I feel
Also,
like we
latest
talk
hallmark.
about it a lot. Is I know that Ottawa is doing well is because I'm not hearing about them. Every time
Yep.
something goes wrong with Ottawa, it's like they're always they're like, oh, the fact I'm not hearing about them, that's how I know they're doing well. It's like a defenseman. The fact I'm not hearing their name is good.
You want to know why? It's because they're healthy.
Why?
It's because they're healthy. I'm looking
Yeah,
at
well,
their stats right now. Josh Norris has played 50 games this year. Brady Tkachuk's played every game this
Didn't he
year.
like die last year?
Yes. Stutzla's played every game. Shabbat's played every game but one. Sanderson's played every game but one. Jensen's played every game but one. Adam Gaudette has 15 goals and he's played every game but one. Like they've been extremely healthy this year. And I think that's the first time I could say that. Well, Artem Zub's been hurt. That's probably the only player of relevance that's been hurt on Ottawa this year. And God bless him, because like I can't remember the last time Ottawa had a season where everyone was healthy. Also, Anton Forsberg, Linus Olmark goaltender duo is gross. Did not
No, you forgot about Levi Marilainen or whatever his name is. He has
Holy
like 3
crap!
strikes in 4
Yes,
games.
what is this? Holy
That's
smokes.
their Hamburglar.
Oh God!
10 years later.
Mads Sogard has played games for them. What the heck? But yeah, this is actually pretty impressive from Ottawa. Jake Sanderson, 33 points.
And they play a crappy Predators team tonight, and apparently that's the only game on today on Amazon Prime.
Boo. Great job, NHL. Love your
Yeah,
scheduling.
the biggest sporting event of the week, some are saying.
Hawks don't play till Wednesday. Great job, guys.
Are you going to that game or no?
In Edmonton? No, I'm not. Or in Chicago? No.
Chicago, yeah. Like fly to Edmonton, that would be cool. But yeah.
No, I'm not.
Oh damn.
I almost went to the Hawks Hurricanes game last week, but
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to go. Or I didn't want to drive.
That's probably a good thing, yeah.
My parents went to the game where Bedard scored that goal against the Lightning, though. So that was fun.
Jealous. Like
right. I like texted my dad that night. I was like, were you guys at that game? He's like, yeah. I was like, nice.
Yeah, there's just something about Florida. Like he knows your family's there. He's like, yeah, gotta step it up.
Yeah, so did Landon Slaggert.
And we keep steering the conversation back to the Blackhawks.
It's the Blackhawks centric podcast. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
How does this affect the Leafs?
What? Blackhawks players? What?
What?
What? Yeah. Yeah, to wrap up the JT Miller trade, kind of my thoughts on it, like on a lesser scale, like for me, the Rangers, like, okay, I'll take that risk. We'll bring back JT Miller. Yeah, we'll have to get rid of Hedel and Mancini in a first round pick. I'm pretty sure the first round pick's like top 12 protected anyways. So I make that risk. And like Vancouver, yeah, you get rid of Miller, but then you immediately flip that pick and get Patterson. I mean, the Rangers got 2 Millers, and then apparently the Canucks got 3 Pattersons now. So
Get excited.
One of the best tweets ever. It was like JT Miller seeing that there's 2 Elias Pattersons because the Canucks have a defenseman, Elias Patterson too, and it's like the video Squidward where he sees SpongeBob and his cousin. He's like, "There's 2 of them." He like runs into his house and just moves.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two
of them. But yeah, Vancouver, I don't know what they're doing. They're just spinning their tires. It's kind of like just what they've been doing over the past like 10 years or whatever. Like 2 years, like they always drag things out. Like the Bruce Boudreau, remember Bruce Boudreau? Like he was like rumored for at least a month that he was going to get fired, and the Canucks fans were chanting him on, knowing he was going to be fired, and then they replaced him with Rick Tocchet. Everything was sunshine, butterfly, and rainbows last year when they won 50 games and were like 1 goal away from probably making round 3. And then now this year, everything has kind of gone to shit. Like your goalie hasn't been healthy with Thatcher Demko. Like who do you have beyond Quinn Hughes on your defense? I don't think Hronek has been that great this year. And then like the forwards, yeah, like Elias Pettersson and JT Miller are underwhelming. So I don't fucking know what to do with the Canucks. Glad I'm not in that front office right now. Just it's crazy how how poorly they've handled everything.
Yeah, it also helps that Thatcher Demko stinks this year. Welcome back.
Oh, Yeah. American Pecorine. What's his stats looking like?
At least last time I checked, they weren't great. Kevin Lincoln's are pretty good.
Oh!
Yeah, they still stink. All right, good to know.
Okay. So, like, you look at the goals against average, whatever, it's like 326, okay, but then the save percentage is 873. Like, what the hell? 4 wins in 14 games. My man is 23-24 average solar bomb right now.
Get excited.
Good Lord. All right. So we believe it or not, we have like a couple more trades to talk about here. The Flyers traded Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko and Jacob Pelletier. What were your thoughts on that trade? Like, two of the trades that happened while I was asleep. This trade happened while I was asleep, and same with like the Marcus Patterson trade. I didn't see that till the next morning. So,
why does Andrei Kuzmenko have that much trade value? I still don't understand that. I get he had a really good year a couple years ago, but I'm sorry, the guy has like 10 points this year. Like, it makes zero sense in my opinion, but that's just me.
15 points in 37 games, 4 goals.
Yeah, he's hashtag not been good. I don't even think he has a point with the Flyers yet. So get excited.
No, I don't think he's played with the Flyers yet.
Get excited. But I don't get this trade whatsoever besides getting Mishkov a friend. That's the only thing I could gain from it. Peltier is not a good player. He was on waivers this year. So who knows? Maybe he has
him for free.
Maybe he's a late bloomer, but whatever. I know Joel Farabee's gotten 50 points multiple times in this league, and I know Morgan Frost has pretty good upside. So can't see this as a bad trade from the Flames' perspective, honestly. They got rid of a player who was not seeing their top 9 whatsoever, and they got rid of a prospect that probably wasn't going to be a part of their future. You know, you got to remember Connor Zari's still out for a good bit with that injury, that knee injury. So to have a guy like Frost to slot in that middle 6 is huge. It lessens the role of a backline, and he's actually going to get minutes and not be in the doghouse with his coach. So this is a great trade by Calgary, in my opinion.
It's worth the risk. I think the big thing why, like, looking at it from Philadelphia's end, they just wanted to get rid of that Joel Farabee contract because clearly it hasn't been working out in Philadelphia. But literally last year he had 50 points. So yeah, if I'm Calgary, I'm taking that risk, and it's crazy. It's like some other teams should have taken a risk on Joel Farabee or Frost, and Calgary's like, yeah, why don't we get both?
Yeah, they just traded their 4th leading scorer.
And more isn't that Frost?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Flyers are not scoring outside of Travis Konecny. Mishkov's got 34 and 52 because he had like a whole month where he didn't do anything.
You didn't hear about that though, huh?
No, you don't hear about anyone having a slump besides Bedard when he, apparently doesn't back check, which is, it's just
no. He needs to become a student of the game. Apparently,
I just find it so funny. We watched this same fan base watched Patrick Kane for 16 years and never said shit. And now it's a big deal when the player doesn't back check. Give me a break, bro.
No, but
Crosby didn't back check for the first 5 years of his fucking career.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Jesus.
I mean, his nickname was literally Crybaby Crosby, and Ovechkin was always called as like choker and a selfish teammate. So I guess this is what happens when you're
comes with the territory.
Got haters.
Honestly, real. But yeah, that I really just I don't get what Philly's doing. I mean, I guess they're selling. Like, I guess it makes sense, but also still do not understand the direction. Like, you have a good player, you need to start building around him. And I mean, they locked up Konecny. That's a good start, but
that's going to get better and better by the day.
Oh my God. That's going to be a $5 million contract by the time the cap's up, or at least the equivalent. Philly's in a really good spot in terms of the draft right now. Like, they're probably going to get a top 7 pick, top 10 pick minimum. So getting a really good forward to put in that core with Mishkov. You hope Luchenko develops, Bonk's developing, hopefully. There is a direction, but also I can't say I trust Danny Briere's drafting, because the only pick that I think was great was the one that was a home run pick no matter what. So you tell me.
Yeah, Calgary have kind of always criticized over the years, like, oh, they're just a very middling team. They've never really been bad, but they've been just carried by great goaltending. It was Kiprusoff for a decade, and then they had Markstrom for a few years, and then now they got Dustin Wolf, who could win a Calder Trophy, and like they don't have the high end talent, but I mean, you got Connor Zary, even though he's injured, you got Matthew Cornell, like they got pieces there. If you Jonathan Huberdeau even just gets back to close to where he was, I don't even think he's been that bad. Like they could turn this around. They might even make the playoffs this year. So yeah, I think the easy thing is to say, oh, you got to just rip it down to the studs and just like get the first overall pick. But it's never that easy. But Calgary has been able to acquire a lot of these guys. Jonathan Huberdeau. Let's take a look at his stats here. 37 points in 52 games. Whatever. It's not horrible. I guess it's bearable, and that contract will be less of a percentage of your cap once it goes up. But yeah, Calgary, I've kind of been critical of Craig Conroy. I still think like that. I always think that Tyler Toffoli trade wasn't great, but like Sharon Govich has been a good piece for them. They've just been really good at finding like those middle six guys. Now you gotta find a way to get top end guys. You need to find a way to get like a Matthew Tkachuk level player or a Johnny Gaudreau level player, hopefully, and then maybe this team can turn it around quicker and not have to go into a full on rebuild.
You sly dog. But yeah, get ready to learn 17. Well, here's the thing. Like, I guess Calgary's hands kind of forced. Like, they're in a playoff spot and they don't have their first round pick. So you should just probably try to get better. And
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
I found that out a couple days ago. Because I was like, get ready to learn 17th overall pick, and the Flames fan was like, oh, we don't even have the pick, so joke's on you. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It was like awesome. But yeah, it's a good spot for them to be in, especially with their prospect pool developing. They do need some high end talent in that prospect pool, and
they got St. Peric as well. Forgot about him. He's good.
Yeah, but you need like a really good forward in there, and they don't have that. So you can always sign it too, but we've seen how that's worked for Calgary in the past. Shout out Nazem Kadri.
They just need a center, I think. It wouldn't be that bad.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that trade from the Flames. Philadelphia. Yeah, you lose 2 young players, but then you also clear up that salary of Joel Farabee. So, go on to the next trade here, and that's the Dallas Stars acquiring Mikael Granlund, who is having a resurgence in San Jose this year. Well, now in Dallas, and Cody Ceci is going to the Lone Star State. What do we think about that trade? Because San Jose was able to get a first round pick back out of it.
Sell high on Mikael Granlund. That's what the Sharks should have done from the start. And, it's funny how the Sharks don't get crap for, trading a player that has high value. And, apparently it's not crippling their number one prospect. Crazy how that's not a thing, but,
yeah, and they didn't trade their number one goalie either. Yeah, no.
San Jose is in a very good spot right now to where I think they're very happy with their prospect pool and kind of what they're built right now. Dickinson's had a very good year. Musty's had another really good year.
Obviously, I thought he was with the Blackhawks.
Also, Smith and Celebrini have done what they've done on the NHL level, but to get another first round pick to add to that arsenal, I think they have 3 now or 2? I don't know.
I think it's just 2 because I think they traded 1 to.
Oh, they traded to Nashville for Askarov.
Yeah,
worth it. Okay, that's worth it. But now you have 2 firsts again, and another year where you can load out that prospect pool, and obviously they're in the same boat as the Hawks, where a top 3 pick is pretty imminent, I would say.
They are worse than the Hawks right now. Like they're as it stands right now, they're guaranteed a top 3 pick.
And I think that's the team that would be perfect for Matthew Schaefer. So, if that becomes the case, that's probably best case scenario for the Sharks. You get your number 1 defensive prospect to pair with your number 1 center. And then that defenseman gets to pair with Dickinson. And I think that would just be a disgusting pair for the next decade. So, and if not, you get another top 4 for that prospect pool, which clearly for teams. We're starting to see it work for teams. Obviously, offensively, it's not working, but the goaltending's been great. And Anaheim's taken a step this year. So if the offense picks up, you could probably see a little bit of a spike in terms of the Ducks play. Utah, we're definitely seeing that this year in terms of guys like Gunther and Cooley, who has gone under the radar. I think Cooley's almost at 50 points this year. It's not getting talked about enough. Nick Schmaltz always under the radar. Keller's been amazing. This is what happens when you start having these good prospects develop. And, the Sharks are putting themselves in that situation. And the Sharks were never going to be it never made sense for a 33-year-old Mikael Granlund to be on that team going forward. Let Mikael Granlund go chase a cup. It's the most Dallas Stars move ever, I feel like. He's probably going to sign like a 3 times 3.5 extension or some shit. And, let's put Granlund and Duchesne on the same line again, because clearly that worked last time.
I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, what are your
Let's
thoughts?
see what Daily Faceoff thinks about it. So their first line right now is Robertson, Hintz, and Stinky Oven. Second line is Marchment, Duchesne, and Granlund. Third line, Ban, Johnston, and Dodonov. And then your fourth line, Oscar Beck, Sam Steele, and Colin Blackwell. Let's go!
Best fourth liner in the league, baby. Get excited. But
I get Heiskanen is injured. That's a big blow for Team Finland, by the way. Their defensive pairings: Thomas Harley, Ilya Labushkin, Issa Lindell, Cody Ceci, and then Liam Bixel looks like he got caught up, and Matt Dumba.
Not a great right side. Once again, surely they could use that Texas-born defenseman that shoots right-handed and has actually been really good the last 3 weeks or so. No, but Dallas is doing what they do best, which is take a shot at the cup. Their team is in another position again to do great, and it just comes down to their guys hitting their stride at the right time. It seems like Robertson and Hintz are starting to heat up. Obviously, losing Heiskanen is no fun, but Harley seems to have taken that step. So you take the good with the bad, honestly. And we've seen bad teams or great teams win without it with a shit right side. Go look at the Lightning. They did it twice. So, I mean, that's something against Chernak, but it's possible.
The disrespect to Dan Girardi.
The Penguins won with 6 left-handed defensemen one year, didn't they?
Top pairing Ron Hainsey. Let's go.
But that's the point. Like, it doesn't matter what side they shoot. The Hawks won with 1 year, which is Seabrook was the right-handed shot. Like, it's possible. Yeah. Well, God bless Michael Roosevelt. Rest in peace. Fly high.
He fucking died.
Poor guy.
Against Minnesota. I remember watching.
Died for our sins.
Yeah, I didn't know your leg could do that when I saw that. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Yeah.
But yeah, Dallas is always is in prime position to strike come playoff time, and they put themselves in position to do that once again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice because we got kind of like a little mini trade deadline of sorts, and these aren't going to be the last moves. There's going to be more big moves. I really hope, like with the cap going up now, teams are going to take more of a risk and go for more big names, but I know in the NHL, probably not.
You know why I think these moves are happening earlier too? Like, it's got to be because of the Four Nations face-off.
Oh yeah, they
have to. Like, it has to be that reason. I guess it makes sense, but also like this next month's going to be really weird. It's going to be interesting to see how teams respond with the gaps and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like, teams have already talked about it. Like, they're going to come back pumped up as ever because they have to represent their country for the first time in 8 years. Or 9 years, I guess, at this point. Screw you, Bettman. You're a clown. But sorry, like, this is ridiculous that it took this long. And we still aren't getting some of the best countries that we need to see. But, oh my God. Like, let them go to the Olympics. I'm so sick of this. That's next year, right? Better happen.
Oh, there's some bullshit.
Don't get cold feet. Don't get cold feet.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Sam Bennett play for Team Canada. Need to see Chris Kreider play for the U.S. Jesus. But it's an exciting time because there's still a lot of big names out there. Like Brock Nelson's definitely getting traded by the deadline.
No, but the Islanders have been hot because they claimed Adam Boqvist off waivers and signed Tony D'Angelo, who scored an overtime goal against the Lightning. Let's go!
The Lightning are not real. They're not real this year. Oh my gosh.
No, you said they're going to win the cup, so
They are winning the cup. They're going in as the 8th seed, and they're going to beat the Kings. Honestly, the Atlantic Division, like that could all change in a week. So I'm not sweating.
Oh, the
I'm
East
not.
is so wide open. Besides, like Washington, like all the 7 other spots can change just like that.
I'm holding my ground. Oh my god. What other trade happened? I think that's it, actually. Well, Brandon. Oh yeah, Brandon Saad signed. That's fun. Forgot about that.
We kind of touched on that earlier, but yeah, it's a perfect move for Vegas. Why not do it? I was always like thinking like the Blackhawks should just claim him and then like retain him and then and then move him back to Bowen, like make it full circle. But no.
I can't believe Saad finally gets to play with Eichel after all these years. Oh my gosh.
I'm interested to see what Vegas lines look like right now, because apparently their issue is depth goal scoring, and all they really need to go after is wingers, and that's the most plentiful resource in the game. So I think they'll be just fine, especially if they make another trade or two, and I expect them to. Get excited. First line, Barbashev, Eichel, and Keegan Colasar. Top line, Keegan Colasar.
Finally, Keegan Colasar is getting his respect. Get excited. All 10 points it is.
Second line, Victor Olofsson, Thomas Hertl, Pavel Dorofeyev. Third line is Brandon Saad, Brett Howden, Mark Stone. And then fourth line, Tanner Pearson, Nicholas Waugh, and Raphael Lavoie. I forgot that Pearson and Lavoie were on Vegas. And then their defense is still fucking disgusting. Nick Hague, Alex Pietrangelo, who is missing the Four Nations tournament. And after that hit from Will Cooley from the Rangers, he probably died. Braden McNabb, Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin, Zach Whitecloud. Yeah.
Probably died. Rest in peace.
And William Karlsson is out as well. So
still deep as ever.
Yeah, like
Vegas Golden Knights.
Like looking at their centers, they probably are the deepest, like 1 through 4. Like Jack Eichel, like right now it's Eichel, Hertl, Howden, and Roy. That's still pretty, it's still pretty good. And you got William Karlsson now. And then like 1 through 6, you probably still have the deepest defensive core in the NHL. So
yeah, and they're getting a career year from Jack Eichel also, which is awesome to see. Like Jack Eichel's probably going to get like 90 assists this year, or at least damn close to it, which is awesome to see. Like his career high in points is 82. He's going to shatter that. He's at 66 right now. And I look at what Jack Eichel's done in Vegas since he's gotten there, and I know we love playing like the hindsight's 2020 game, but like you look at yes, of course we're doing it. You look at some of these trade packages that used to get rumored for Eichel, every single one of them was worth it in hindsight. Yep. Like, I think the Hawks at the time was like Doc Boquist in a first. Like, that would have been so fucking worth it. Like, looking back.
Yeah.
But, like, obviously, we don't know that. We don't know that. Yeah. But, dude, would have been so worth it. Like, and let's say it was after the Jones trade. Trade Doc in 2 firsts. I don't care. Like, it would have been so worth it. And then you would have had.
Might as well just go balls to the wall at that point. Like,
dude, you have your core forwards are like Eichel, DeBrincat, Kane, and Strome, and Hagel. Fuck. That would have been so good. And then they had Jones on the back end, and then you just fill that in. I mean, they had Nolan Allen in the system, so you had that.
Well, they have
and Vlasic.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I love playing the hindsight game. This is actually fun. Yeah. No, but like I mean, Calgary too.
Reality Hawks.
You could have Kachuk and Eichel, bro. Oh my god.
And no, first line, all-American line of Kachuk, Eichel, and Gaudreau.
It would have been so good. And they still would have had Hannafin. Oh, my God.
Could have Hannafin. Now they're both on Vegas.
Hannafin. What was the Rangers thing? Oh, Lafreniere and Kakko or whatever? Bro, come on. Like him and Panarin and Fox and all these guys. Oh, my God. Some of these teams should have just done it. Especially when at the end of the day, like, Buffalo had a good return, but it's not Jack Eichel. It's not Jack Eichel. Oh my God. The winner of a Jack Eichel trade is whoever gets Jack Eichel. The winner of a Mikko Rantanen trade is whoever gets Mikko Rantanen for the meantime. The winner of the Jake Gensel trade is whoever gets Jake Gensel. This is just how this works. Like, you get the best player, and you don't want to pay up. Once again, it goes back to the same point. God bless Vegas. God bless Vegas for actually making these trades. Carolina for making these trades. Because clearly, no other team realizes that teams want to actively get better. It's wild to me. I'll give Tampa credit too. They're probably the only other team that does it every year, like legit get better. Like Dallas does it, but they don't go over the top. Like,
not quite at the level. I mean, most of their talent is homegrown. Yeah, but even Boston, like it looks like this is finally their year they fall. But for a few years there, every trade deadline, they would be like, okay, who's the big name on the market? Okay, we're gonna go get him. Not only are we gonna get him, we're gonna extend them and keep them as well. Like Taylor Hall, Hampus Lindholm, Charlie Coyle, like they've gotten good value out of that.
Yeah, 100%. And even to an extent, at least Toronto tries. They don't try to the extent that some of these teams do, but they try as much as you kind of can, I guess. Considering their cap situation, like there's not much you can do besides, like, they're not trading the core four. I guess if they did, that put them in that category. Florida, I'd put in there too. Florida knows when they need to make a move. But clearly, there's a reoccurring trend.
Yeah, they're like right up there with Vegas. Like, really, other than Barkov and Ekblad, who is homegrown there? Like, they traded for Reinhardt, they traded for Kachuk, obviously, they traded for Bennett,
Montour when he was there. They signed Bob. Like, that was a swing at the time.
Got Forsling off of waivers.
Got Verhaeghe off waivers, I'm pretty sure, too. Or just signed him
flat
signed
out. Free agency, but like they got for nothing. Yeah, off the scrap heave.
Dude, this is what good teams do, man. This is what good teams do.
I mean, yeah, drafting is important and all that, but having a good pro scouting department is just as important.
Pivotal.
Because again, you can make I say anyone can make the big trades for the top players, but apparently they can't. But you also got to be able to find guys that can play up and down your lineup. And Florida's, I still think Vegas is the best at doing that because it just seems like almost every move they make, they can plug and play there. And like, again, look at Chandler Stevenson cashing in what he did in Vegas. And, he's not doing great in Seattle, but he's making a lot of money. So, yeah. Final conclusion, you should just trade for the star players. If I'm the Blackhawks, I still look at Elias Pettersson. Like, I even like coming to draft, especially if they drop to like 3 or 4, I'd be like, okay, take this Frank Nazar and whoever the hell else, because all these players might be good. I know they're not Elias Pettersson right now, and I know Elias Pettersson's going to be 27, locked up until I think he's 32 or 33. Cap's going up. I got him for the best years at very good contract. Yeah, I make that trade. You should at the very least do your due diligence, and so should other teams.
Why did Ottawa have to be good? I want Brady Tkachuk so bad. God. It makes me mad.
Trust me, when they lose to the Leafs in the first round, that's gonna go crazy there.
Actually, Brady Tkachuk's son or Mitch Marner daughter. Which end does the Battle of Alberta go? I kind of hope it goes to Mitch Marner pill. Like, Mitch Marner daughter. Yeah. Get excited. But seriously, like one of these big names needs to hit free agency because I need to see if Kyle Davidson is going to be allowed to open up the pocketbook.
There's no excuse for you not to. Like,
do not like
Chicago.
You're telling me he's only going to cost 3 TJ Brodies? I don't know. It might be worth it.
Oh my lord, dude! Damn, that's
so true, though, bro.
That's like, a 3J Brodie. No way, we can't do that. Is that the name of the podcast?
3J Brodie. Jesus Christ. No, but like, think about it. He spent like 20 mil this offseason. You're telling me you can't do that with one player? And it's a player that, like, perfect, like, either one of those players perfectly fits what you're looking for. which is not just a good player to play with Bedard, it's a star player to play with Bedard. And why not get one of the top 10 scorers in the league if they're available?
In the case of both, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, both. Marner's third in the league in scoring. He's got 70 points this year, dude.
He's having the best year of his career, and
good for him. Go make 14 mil as a Blackhawk, please.
Yeah.
God, like I need something. And like,
or
they'll have another forward to throw in the mix too. Like, God, just get this season over with already.
Yeah, we're very much at the point of the season where it's like I just want to. I would have fast forward to like April because I do want to see guys like Rinzel and Moore play a few games with the Blackhawks, and then see the draft lottery.
I'm watching the Hawks game still. They're actually been pretty competitive this year, but I do want to see the offseason. I agree with you. Sorry.
Yeah, you just want to fast forward everything. You want to see all the prospects hit their potential, have make the big move, make the big free agent sign, making the big trade, and go to the draft. Yeah, all that stuff. But no, we're still stuck in February here, and I think they still have 30 games to play. I don't know how much you want to touch on it, but like I've loved the thing that pisses me off about this team is one, they show up like for teams that are way better than them. They show up way more for those games than they do for teams that are closer to their level in terms of competition. And two, like get the veterans off this team. I want to see more Colton Dachs. I want to see more Landslagers. Like fuck it. At this point, just call up Sam Savoy. Like they called up Lev Shunov today. They're just getting a practice. I'm like, fuck him. Just give him a game. Even if it's just one game, let him just like dip his toe in the water and play. Like I'm tired. Ben Pope wrote the article, like there's no reason for the Blackhawks to be playing TJ Brodie right now. And here they are. Arvid Soderblom, like at this point, you might as well just give him all the games. Like Mrazek, it's been rough for him. I still think he might be playing through a bit of an injury. I don't know. Just give Soderblom all the starts, get all the young players playing time, and with the defense and the forwards, like stop swapping like, oh, one young player will play this game, other will sit. Like, no, get all of them in there and sit all the veterans. I'm tired of they haven't done anything for this team. This team will have leads, but then they'll blow them. You would think with a veteran team they'd be able to fix that. Like at the very least, if you're gonna do that, like ice your young players, let them learn. I mean, like Nick Foligno, you're gonna play him, but like, yeah, TJ Brodie should not be playing. Like Pat Maroon should be playing like maybe 3 games, like once every 3 games. Yeah, that's all I really got to say. Landon Slaggert, like to me, this team needs another Brandon Hagel player. I don't know if you're gonna be quite Brandon Hagel level, but with how things are looking right now, the way he plays, like you could have a spot in like in the middle 6, and that's what you're kind of hoping for. It's tryouts for these guys. Go up here, work your tail off, and we'll see what happens.
Make the most of your ice time, because I mean, who knows what's going to happen this offseason if we're being honest.
Yeah, Philip Kurashev, like just trade him or do whatever with him. I don't know why he's still there. Lucas Reichel.
Reichel's actually been pretty good lately.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Like, let's put it this way, Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
He's making 1.1 mil, and he's actually adjusted to a bottom 6 role. It's fine. Mm-hmm. It's fine. If that's what he's going to be, you need that at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You need fast bottom 6ers that are going to go rush the puck and can occasionally score on the rush. You need that, especially at that price.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it anymore.
It's disappointing, like what he could have been, what we saw earlier in his career. But I mean, like Michael Frolik, I remember he was like a goal scorer, but then he adapted into more like a penalty killer bottom 6. Maybe that's what Reichel's got to do to like, you got to do what you can do to stick around. And if Reichel can adapt to like being a bottom 6 guy, fast guy, I don't know if he's like a penalty killer or even a power play guy, but he still got the rest of the year to do whatever he needs to do.
Facts. You still got time, which is always good.
Yeah, and like Ryan Donato, it would be nice to keep him, but I think with how the market's going right now, I think they can get a second for Ryan Donato.
Yeah, also depends if he even wants to stay.
Yeah, it just feels like there's so much complacency around the veterans like Taylor Hall. I get he's gone through injury issues, but his play didn't like help at all. Like it was disappointing. I expected like a bit more out of him coming to Chicago, but it just didn't work out. I hope things work better for him in Carolina. But yeah, like he was playing fourth line minutes and just really wasn't making a difference there. So like the fact they out of that they got like their own third round pick back. You take that, and you never know with injuries and all that stuff, and with the Four Nations. Like I guess from a team that would be buying, like you don't have that much time for players to acclimate to your team. Like I think once the Four Nations is done, I think you have like 1 or 2 weeks before the trade deadline. So I think a lot of teams are like, okay, let's get them in now. Like let's get them practicing with our team, even if he's not going to be playing too many games towards the trade deadline. So, yeah, I don't think they really move anyone else besides Donato, but yeah, I just want it to be the off season, like with the cap again. I've said this how many times this episode with the cap going up. There's a lot of different possibilities. Like I would at this point, I would call Calgary and be like, what will it take for us to get Jonathan Huberdeau? Like you got to do everything you can to get more players in the top six for Bedard, because with just the circumstances, the players that could be hitting the market this year, like there is no excuse for you not to have another player that can play that's closer to Bedard's level.
Yep, no excuse. Zero excuse, actually.
And like, and it's not like just the trade market or the free agency market. I don't think that like offer sheets are ever going to be a big thing, but that's a tool you can use. Look at St. Louis and how well that's worked out for them. I don't even think they even gave up a first round pick for Broberg and Holloway. Like I think Coronado's an RFA that can be offer sheet. I think Wyatt Johnston is another guy. Like you got to look at every single option you can to make this team better. You got a special player with Connor Bedard. Yes, you have an amazing pipeline, but none of them are in the NHL right now close to Connor Bedard's level. Like I love looking at the pipeline. I think Kyle Davidson's done a great job. It's nice seeing Nick Lardis be a goal per game in the OHL as a 19-year-old, as an undersized guy. Roman Kantarov being almost point per game in the KHL. Sam Rinzel like could get a Hobie Baker, but the problem is none of them are in the NHL right now. So
Yeah, and that's the problem with rebuilds. You got to play the waiting game. It just so happens that you got to play the waiting game with your generational prospect. So, got to pick a lane.
like if we even have Adam Fantilli, are we like this? I don't know, is worked up the right word, but like we want this to be fast forward because I feel Connor Bedard is just such a special talent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we'd also be kind of frustrated that he's on the team if they're this bad too, because he's not going to get uplifted by the talent around him. But I guess it's just the fact that they haven't seen any growth in 3 years. Like there's not even the slightest bit of growth, and that's concerning. So if there's not growth next year, you have to start looking at other things. You fired the coach. Like this is the reality. There needs to be some shape, some form of direction. And unfortunately, I don't see it. So we'll see what happens in the offseason.
Yeah, and you're still like getting the lingering effects of like what being like the last regime did, putting this team in limbo for 5 years. Like this is only the third year of Kyle Davidson's rebuild, like full year, but it feels more closer to 10 years because of the 5 years before that. And I think that's why fans are so frustrated right now. Like if we didn't have all that limbo and like the last regime was like, okay, we're just gonna start a rebuild or Kyle Davis or whatever. Now we did that earlier. I think we'd be a lot happier. But no, it's really we haven't had a team that's been competitive or in a playoff spot for almost a decade now. Like it's been 10 years since they last won their last one of a playoff series, and that was the Stanley Cup. I don't count the 2020 bubble. So yeah, fans are frustrated. But you know what? There's so many other great teams in Chicago sports right now to be excited about. No, there isn't.
Funny stuff. Very funny stuff. This league stinks. We're terrible. City deserves better. Hopefully they get it soon, but we will see at the end of the day.
Where are you at with the draft now? Because I'm just, like, it seems like Matthew Shaver's the number one guy. Like, if they get first overall, draft him and you figure it out. Like, you trade you trade a Korchinski for a high end forward. Like, that's what I think at this point. Because if you're getting a Kale McCarr, Quinn Hughes level defenseman, you can't pass that up.
If that's what your scouts think he is, then go take him.
Mm-hmm.
If they think he's a number one defenseman, go take him. If they're taking 2 or 3, it comes down to what forward do you think is best. Do you think it's Higgins? Do you think it's Misa? Do you think it's Martone? It's one of those 3. I think they've separated themselves, and it just comes down to what you're looking for in preference.
Oh, they're getting a top 4 pick, and the thing is, they're gonna get one of Schaefer, Higgins, Misa, or Martone.
100%. And if they go off the board, then I hope they go off the board in the direction that I prefer, which there's guys that are out there, and if they have strong second halves, it could be interesting. But they're also not someone I'm taking in the top 4. So, like, I love guys like Jordan Gavin and Anton Brundell, but if they take them at like number 2, like something really had to change.
No.
Exactly. But yeah, it'll depend on what they're doing. And the Leafs pick's going to be like late 20s, so get like a Cole Renshie or something.
Yeah. Looking at the points right now, like 30th place, the Predators have 43 points, and they have a game in hand on the Hawks. The Hawks have 37 points in 52 games. You think that's bad? The Sharks have 36 points in 54 games. So yeah, it's unless like Nashville, I think, has been better recently. Yeah, they're 5-0 in their last 10 games. So is Buffalo. Like, those would be the closest teams to the bottom. Like, they've been playing just average 500 hockey, and they still have this big lead. That's how bad the Blackhawks and the Sharks have been.
Yeah, it's just what happens when you rip your team down to the studs. It's just the reality. It takes time, and they have decent pieces put in place, but it's going to require prospects stepping up, and it's going to require the GM acquiring some really good talent.
Got to be bold, man. Like, I know it's like that's easy to say that, like, but Kyle Davidson almost did get Ivan Demidov that pick, but almost shoulda, woulda, coulda. You didn't at the end of the day. So yeah, you gotta find avenues, whether that's through trade, whether that's through free agency. Like, fuck it, use offer sheets. Like, it's proven it's worked with the Blues, so why not give it a chance? Why not do all of them? Like, you can do all of that. That's what you got the draft picks for.
Yeah, and you got to use them at some point. Like, not every prospect's going to play for you.
No.
So, yeah, I think you struck gold in terms of like a Lardis. Like, even bare minimum, he's probably going to be like a middle 6 forward, which is pretty solid.
Oh, if you get a 2020 out of Lardis, like, third round pick, that's an amazing pick. Yeah. And anything more than that, home run, grand slam.
Clearly, his ceiling looks to be like an Alex DeBrincat type, which, if that's the case, that's a 6'2" Alex DeBrincat. That's pretty useful asset to have on your roster. And he shoots left. Like, that's another useful thing on the roster because you got a lot of right-handed shots on that team, young shots at least. They're in good shape. Yeah. It's patience is going to be key throughout this rebuild. It always has been. And like you said, it sometimes becomes hard when you see just how good this 19-year-old is, and you can see him actively getting frustrated because he, like, even in Regina, he wasn't losing this much. Like, let's be honest.
Dude, he put the team on his back, though, and carried that team in the playoffs. And, like, I think he had some ridiculous, like, 14 points in 7 playoff games. Like, he almost single-handedly dragged Regina past the first round.
Yeah. And it just shows how much of a talent he is. And if you just get a little bit more around him, who knows what he can do with it.
That's the thing. Like, throughout, like, Sidney Crosby, his line mates for a long time were Chris Kunitz and Pascal Dupuis. And it worked out. And look at Connor McDavid and Edmonton. It's like, you don't even necessarily need like the superstar. I mean, yeah, you need another superstar in there. If you have a chance to get a Rantanen and a Mitch Marner, but like for me, it's you don't even necessarily have to pair the two together. Like, if you got a superstar for each, like if you could just run Bertuzzi, Bedard, Nazar, and then like you sign Rantanen, whoever the fuck else they put there, maybe like you get Oliver Moore up, or like your top 3 pick within the next year or two. Like, there's a path like within a couple of years that this team could maybe contend for a wild card spot, but it's just not right now.
Not right now.
Patience is a virtue.
Yep, not right now. And they'll be in good shape. And clearly, didn't even talk about the best part about the Ranson trade. He's out of the conference for the meantime, which is huge.
Woo! And hopefully the next time he's back in the conference, he's with us. Let's go. I thought we'd go on a lot longer than that, but I don't know. Do you have anything else to add, or we can wrap this up?
No, I think we were pretty concise in what we needed to say. I mean, there was a lot that happened, but at the same time, it was all a little underwhelming. Ranson trade was crazy. I will say that.
Oh,
but at the same time,
crazy. Like one of the biggest in-season trade of like the last 10, 15 years for sure. Like probably the biggest one since Joe Thornton. I mean, Joe Thornton won like an Art Ross and a Hart for while playing for two teams in one season. So like that's the last one I can think of. But yeah, 2 point per game players being traded for each other. I can't remember the last time that's happened in my lifetime.
Yeah, 100%. It's no one ever that big a trade midseason. Like you said, last time it was Joe Thornton. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Marty St. Louis, but Marty St. Louis wasn't that good when he got traded. He was a little older.
Yeah, he was kind of in the twilight of his career.
Twillet.
Give me toilet. Epic.
It's
no.
Twilight.
I guess before we wrap it up, I can kind of just go through like who are the top trade targets right now, who we can kind of maybe expect to be moved within the next month. Brock Nelson is the number 1 trade target, but with how the Islanders are playing right now, I think Lou Lamoriello will want to hang on to him. So number 2 is Brandon Tanev. Would be a great bottom 6 addition for any playoff team. Rasmus Ristolainen is at number 3. He has 2 years left at $5.1 million. Here's where it gets interesting. Number 4 is Bowen Byram. Number 5, Casey Middlestat. Number 6, Ryan Lindgren. Yeah, and number 7, Dylan Cousins. And then number 8 is Seth Jones. So 5 years remaining, $9.5 million AAV. Scoop. Do the massive salary cap increases agreed upon between the NHL and the NHLP make it easier for the Hawks to move Jones? Maybe. At $9.5 million, Jones will count for just 8% of the cap 3 seasons from now. Yes, he'll be 33 then, but he is such a gifted and effortless skater. There shouldn't be any concern on the age curve chart. Jones has averaged 25-18 over 4 seasons in Chicago. He is a fine defenseman, just an overpaid one, and the Blackhawks are willing to be creative to move a player who doesn't necessarily line up with their timeline. Sounds like talks are picking up on that front. Guess we'll see what happens. Again, I've said I think a Seth Jones trade happens in the offseason, if anything. I don't think the Blackhawks are to make any trades, but looking at some pending UFAs, I would like to go for them to go if they can't get a Ranson or a Marner, Oliver Bjorkstrand's a name I'd look at. Just looking at the rest, there's not really anyone else. But there's names out there. Look at Buffalo. Dylan Cousins is there. Jack Quinn is there. Bowen Byram. Not that I necessarily need Bowen Byram, but yeah. I'm just rambling on
Jack Quinn.
Yeah, I would definitely, for sure.
Cousins, I'd probably take a flyer on too with the cap going up. I mean, shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
$7 million is not going to be what it is now in 3 years. So I'd take that flyer.
Miller's there too. Elias Pettersson is still in there.
Toronto's first for Dylan Cousins at the draft. Get excited?
Let's go!
Get excited.
No, but still at this point, Elias Pettersson, I love Frank Nazar, and your first round pick might be Matthew Schaefer, but I would do that to get Elias Pettersson. Still, don't care. Anywho, yeah, we can wrap it up there. Any closing thoughts and anything or?
No, not really. I think the NHL season is in that weird low point where teams are starting to ramp up for the playoffs, and
Yep.
we're going to start seeing a couple more dramatic games. I feel like the games are getting better right now. And
We've gotten a few of those already. Like I think I mentioned, I think it was last podcast we did a couple weeks ago. I remember there was that the Boston Ottawa game, which was crazy, like back and forth, high scoring affair. There was that Edmonton Colorado game. Colorado went up 3-0, and then Edmonton won 4-3. There was that Edmonton Toronto game where Toronto was up like 4-1. Edmonton did tie it, but then it was offside because of Sean Klingberg, and then the Leafs won the game 4-3. So yeah, we're starting to get to that point of the season. We're like 2/3 of the way through, and it's like, okay, the games are starting to mean more. Things are kind of starting to lock in. You know which teams are contenders, and you know which teams are not. So yeah, and it's only going to get more fun over the next couple months.
100%. It'll be fun to watch. Can't wait.
Yeah, me either. Anywho, thank you all for tuning in. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform, whether that is Spotify, Apple Podcast, or whatever else. And if you're watching our beautiful face on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and smash the like button. So for Pierce and Dylan, take it easy, y'all, and we shall talk another time. Peace.